Good afternoon, class. We'll be reading a story called Marshallow, story and picture by Clare, Turlay, NewBerry. So by looking at the cover of the page, we see that there is a bunny. So maybe it's about a bunny. Maybe it could be about the bunny named maybe Marshmallow. Let's get into the story. Marshmallow. Wonder who could be in the box. Oliver was a gray cat with tabby marking who lived in the apartment. Many cats have to catch his dinner before he can eat it, but Oliver was lucky. When he was hungry, all he could do was mention the fact to Miss Tilly, and she would open the refrigerator and get out the liver and chopped beef. Peace and quiet was what he wanted. As Oliver went out, he did not know that the world was full of other animals. The only mice in his life were gray flannel ones filled with catnip, and the nearest to the rabbit he had ever seen was a stuffed plush Easter bunny, but Oliver did not care. Peace and quiet was what he wanted, and his meal on time. Life, however, could not always be like that. One day, Miss Tilly called him from the kitchen. "Prrr," replied Oliver. He hurried over, expected to find his dinner. Instead, Miss Tilly was smiling at something she held to her two cup hands. It was small, white, and furry. "What do you think of this, Oliver?" she said. "Its name is Marshmallow." She held the furry thing close to her cheek for a moment, then sat it on the floor. He had tall ears, pink eyes, wiggly nose, and twitchy whiskers, and it was alive. Oliver was appealed. He took one wild look at the creature, then squinched his eyes shut. Oliver was, "What's the matter with you?" cried Miss Tilly. "Don't tell me you're afraid of the little baby bunny." But Oliver was afraid. He was frightened even to run away, but crunch in the corner, opening and closing his eyes as it actually hurt them to look at the rabbit. As for Marshmallow, he was a very unhappy little bunny. All he wanted to be at home with his nice, warm, furry mother. If he had been a kitten, he would have meowed. If he had been a puppy, he would have howled. If he would have been a baby, it would have cried his eyes out. And being a bunny, he just sat still and felt sad. So as you can stop and think about this, seems like Marshmallow and Oliver are very uncomfortable with each other. And now that Oliver was so used to being by himself, he has another furry friend named Marshmallow. How do you think the story will end, guys? Let's continue. However, Marshmallow chilled up for a bit when he had his dinner, a raw carrot and a bowl of rolled oats. The bowl said dog on it. For the shop, he had any dishes with rabbit or bunny on them. But as Marshmallow could not read, this did not much matter. He ate the green carrot top first, for he was thirsty. Then he munched part of the carrot. After he tried the raw oats, eating with a little quick nibble, crunch, crunch, crunch. When he had finished eating, he hopped into the bowl and took a nap. That night, Marshmallow slept in the bathroom on a bed made out of folded towel. It was not the same as having a soft, furry mother to cuddle against. Still, he did not cry. Nor did he yowl for his breakfast the next morning. If only you were nice and quiet like that, Oliver. You are Miss Tilly. When Oliver woke her with frantic scratching and meowing at her bedroom door. Miss Tilly warmed some chopped beef for him, gave Marshmallow another carrot, and made herself some coffee and toast, then sat down and typewriter and wrote a poem in praise of a rabbit. A bunny is a quiet pet. A bunny is the best thing yet. A bunny never makes a sound. A bunny have nice to have around. Puppies whimper, bark and growl. Kittens meow and talk cow yow. Birdies twitter, chirp and tweet. Moo cows moo and limbskin bleat. Some creatures below other bray. Some hoot or honk or yelp and neigh. Most creatures make annoying noises, even little girls and boys. A bunny that was never heard. He simply never says a word. A bunny delightful habit. No home completes without a rabbit. That morning, Oliver felt so much braver, he hardly squinched his eyes at all. When he looked at the bunny now, and by the afternoon, he was watching Marshmallow with an expression that would have terrified an older and wiser rabbit. Marshmallow, however, was a tiny new baby that Sacred noticed what went on. He ate when he was hungry. The rest of the time, he slept, with his paw tucked up under him to keep him warm. Oliver began creeping towards the sleeping bunny. His eyes glared wickedly. But just as he got ready to spring, Miss Tilly said, "Oliver, don't you dare hurt that bunny." Oliver sat up and blinked instantly. "This just isn't going to work out," Miss Tilly told herself sadly. "Cats always have hunted rabbits, and I suppose they always will." She put Oliver in another room, and after that, she did not let him come near Marshmallow. Marshmallow began to notice more. So Marshmallow began looping around the apartment, snuffing things, tasting them, and nearly everything seemed to taste pretty good. He nibbled the rugs, working very hard in one place until he found a little bare spot before moving. He stood on his handy legs and yanked the book out of the bookcase. He chewed the chair and table legs, and every time Miss Tilly sat down for a moment, he hopped hopefully and cheerfully and untied her shoelace. He was just a very little bunny. Miss Tilly was surprised to find that he nibbled so many things besides carrots, and she wrote a poem on her typewriter which is called A Sultry Morning to a Rabbit's Lover. A bunny nibbles all day long. A buzzard doesn't think it's wrong. He nibbles mittens, fluffers, flops. He only pauses when he hops. He nibbles curtains, lapcord, shoots, and he only stops to snooze. Soft pillow, ribbons, rugs. He takes a mouthful, then he tugs. Cloches, boxes, books, and strings. A bunny nibbles everything. One afternoon, Miss Tilly stayed out later than usual. When Oliver woke his nap, there was no dinner ready for him. So he trotted to the door in another room and said, "Prrr." There was no answer. He couldn't hear an odd noise in the other room. Small snuffling noise that causes his eyes to widen and his ears pointed up straight forward. These sounds were made at Marshmallow's little feet as he went lippity-lippity around the room. So let's stop and think. Seems like Marshmallow is getting into a lot of trouble. He nibbles everything. So what do you think will happen, guys? I don't know. Let's continue the story. Marshmallow had discovered Miss Tilly's old plush Easter bunny and had thoroughly nibbled its whiskers. Now he had just flicking about the room and kicked up his heel for sheer joy of being alive. Oliver was listening and sniffling while his eyes grew bigger. "Brr," he said again, and scratches impatiently at the door. When this did no good, he stood up with his hind legs and patted at the doorknob. Finally, he reached both forepaws, and with one on each side of the knob, he worked his way at that. At last, there was a small click, and the door swung open. Oliver padded silently into the next room, and there was a rabbit skipping as he thought he hadn't a care in the world. He would dash several feet from one direction, stop suddenly, and spring into the air. Then he returned, dashed back to his starting point, and jumped again, back and forth, back and forth. Oliver watched as it was of great interest. Each time that little bunny whisked by him, he lashed his tail and ready to spring. But somehow he couldn't quite do it. Perhaps he remembered that Miss Tilly told him not to hurt the little bunny. Or perhaps he was still being just a bit afraid. Suddenly, Marshmallow sat up and stared at the cat with his little nose twitching rapidly. He looked most innocuous, but not at least harmed. As you can see, Marshmallow sat up. Look what happened. What was this great striped animal, he wondered? Could it possibly be his mother in a new coat? And while Oliver hesitated, trying to make up his mind to pounce, all at once Marshmallow scampered joyfully up to him and kissed him on the nose. Marshmallow shut his eyes and snuggled closely, blissfully to have found another furry friend. Even Oliver opened his jaws and took him with his teeth. Marshmallow was not afraid. For the next moment, Oliver was licking his face as tender as a mother cat with her kitten. And like any mother cat, he licks the fur in the wrong direction, so he stood on the end and looked all muscled up. And look, so cute. He licked his fur in the wrong direction. Oh, look, they became really close friends. The bunny cuddled up to him. After that, Miss Tilly let them play together every day, for she saw that they were friends. They romped like two kittens, and wherever the cat went, Marshmallow followed lippity behind his heel. And wherever Oliver laid down to take a nap, the bunny cuddled up to him as he could get. Oliver forgot that he had never thought Marshmallow was a strange animal to be pounced upon. He adapted to the little bunny and brought him close up to his own kitten. Although Oliver never said so, I couldn't help thinking that in time he came to agree with Miss Tilly that a bunny of delight habit, no home complete without a rabbit. Exactly. See, guys, they became really close friends. The end. So let's stop and think for a moment. Let's clear up the main idea. So in the beginning, Miss Tilly had just Oliver. And then she brought home a furry, white, another animal to the addition of the family. Oliver and Marshmallow didn't seem to get along. Marshmallow was just running around, finding things to nibble on and things, and at first, Oliver was scared of Mr. Marshmallow. But then afterwards, they became really close friends. So do any of you guys have a really close friend or a friend that you consider that everywhere you guys do or wherever you guys go or whatever, you guys always together? I have a best friend too. But that's the end of my story. Thank you.